Hey y'all, welcome to M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. This is a knitting podcast, believe it or not, coming to you from Metro Detroit, Michigan. My name is Jamie. I'm the dyer behind m1yarns.com, and I'm wearing this hat that I just got on a trip to Nashville, where I went for a long weekend with my husband to celebrate his birthday. And we were those tourists where we got hats and some boots, and we went to a honky tonk, and we both love country music. We just had a good time. Did a little fishing for a nice little outdoors, nature experience. Had a great time. I didn't do a whole lot of knitting, although right before the trip, I had some serious cast-on-itis, and the cast-on-itis is still there. In fact, I'm just going to pull up my iPad. I know for a fact I wound yarn for 4 projects. That sounds right. Thank God I have an electric winder. But I downloaded 4 patterns, and one of them I'm not going to cast on for a while. Not worried about it. One of them, Metamorphic by Andrea Mowry, which is a pretty new pattern. I think I'm going to try to cast on. I keep saying this on Instagram. I'm going to try to cast on any day now. And this is the contrast yarn I'm going to use. This is by Feederbrook Farm in the colorway, this is their Entropy DK in the colorway Theta. And this is my own hand-dyed yarn on my DK base in the colorway Denim. I need to dye more of this. I think I have 1 skein left. So that, it's totally not the season for that sweater, but I don't really care. I like knitting for fall in spring and summer because then I feel like I'm doing wardrobe prep. Which, speaking of wardrobe prep, now that the weather here in Michigan is finally better, I need to do that thing where you rotate your closet. You take your winter clothes, you pack them away, you bring in your spring and summer clothes. There's really no such thing as summer clothes in Michigan. You wear them for 3 weeks. It's all about layers. Anyway, should I wear the hat the whole? Kind of goes with the look. Anyway, yeah, so I have not gotten a lot of work done on some of my whips, which I'll talk about momentarily, but I have done a lot of planning, which is what I really want to talk about, because I had an idea that we should do a make-along together. So let me just take this off so I can let my brain get some air. The big project that is on my mind, in addition to so many other patterns that I wound yarn for and printed off. I do print my patterns. I know, I'm so old school. Do you print your patterns? I like to take notes on them. I like to check off the lines as I complete them. If it's a chart pattern, I like to, somehow strike through it so I know where I'm at in the chart. You gotta do what works for you. Anyway, so here we are in mid-May, and tickets to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival go on sale in about 4 weeks. And I am going with a group of friends, and I'm super excited. I've had the house booked. We are talking about plans and all that good stuff. And so, of course, my thoughts have turned to okay, well, what knitwear am I going to wear? And of course, we're going for several days, so it's going to be more than one piece, but you have to have your piece de resistance. I was thinking it might be fun to do a Rhinebeck sweater make-along, so I'm going to plan some details for that. probably in the next few weeks, and I will talk about it in the next episode or the following, whichever episode I ended up talking about it. I will be sure to mention that, post about it on my social media and all that good stuff with plenty of notice. So we will kick off together and be ready for Rhinebeck. So I started brainstorming, and stick with me here because this was my thought process. I started with knowing I wanted color work. Then I thought, well, I would really like a cardigan because I would like to layer it in case the weather varies and I'd like to open the cardigan. Like, let's say I want to wear a tank top and jeans and leave the cardigan open, or maybe it gets chilly, I don't know, and I want to button it. Well, somehow that evolved. I only want to make a cardigan if I can steek it because I hate knitting flat. So surprisingly, if you go on Ravelry and you search, and if you're like me, this is how I do my Ravelry searching. So I'll pick category, sweater, narrow it down to cardigan, narrow it down to knitting, narrow it down to construction, top down, in the round, steeked, for an adult. By the time I've got to this point in all my filters, there's literally only 150 patterns. Now the key thing here is that it's the top down piece that's eliminating like hundreds of options. Most steeked cardigans are, most steeked colorwork cardigans are knit bottom up. So that's an interesting piece of the puzzle. I don't want to do bottom up. It's not a total deal breaker, but I would rather not. I would rather find a top down. Because I'm petite, I would like to find a portion that I can say, oh, okay, my sleeves are long enough, now I can stop. Or the body is long enough, I can stop. Or I need to do some shaping and go from there. So I like to try it on as I go. So all that being said, I was kind of spending hours and hours and hours on Ravelry. I couldn't find what I wanted. And I'm going to pull up my Ravelry queue as we chat about this because this is serious business. So then I came across on Instagram this dress called, I'm going to butcher this, Pohjantahti by Sari Nordland. Now, I love Sari's patterns. I've never knit any of them, but I really admire the beauty and classical nature of them. It's a dress. It's color work. I've knit a color work dress before. I loved it. I thought, oh, this would be kind of a showstopper. Somehow my brain got on that train immediately. So I went to it on Ravelry. I found it's part of an ebook, like $20 for like 20 patterns. I had to dig through it. It's 100 pages. It's a whole magazine, basically. It is a magazine, I should say. So I bought the ebook because there was no detailed information on Ravelry about the pattern. I kept looking at it. I couldn't figure out the construction, so I thought, forget it. Let's just get the pattern. I'll figure it out. So I got it. It's all the things I don't like. It's bottom up. It's knit flat. I've never done flat color work. It's set in sleeves. It's a pleated skirt. So I loved it so much. I'll insert a photo here if I haven't already. That I thought, okay, no worries. I can do this. I'll reverse engineer it so that it will become a top-down, in-the-round dress. I spent a good hour on it, rewriting it, like taking the bottom of the pattern, putting it at the top, doing all this that magic. No. This was so not worth the time and energy. Then I thought, okay, all I have to do is take the chart motif and apply that to a top-down sweater of the same gauge. Wow. that was an impossible feat to find on Ravelry. That was about another hour. Then I thought, okay, oh no, I did find one. The right gauge was, hold that thought, the Twigs by Junko Okamoto. Downloaded that. Turns out it's only one size. So there really wasn't enough information in the pattern that I needed. And after I read the pattern from top to bottom, backwards and forwards, I decided, although that pattern's been in my queue for ages, I don't know that I would ever knit it. So that was an epic fail. So then I got back on Instagram, and lo and behold, once again, I came across a colorwork knitted dress. I think I found what I'm going to make. I'm still not 100% sure, because there are some cardigans, some steeked cardigans that I'm considering. There's like 3. So those might be my like day 2 options. So this new to me designer who I came across is Johanna V-A-U. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's got 2 really adorable dresses. The one I'm considering is called Woodland Gate. I'll insert a photo. And the other one is called Gimmstein or Gimmstein. But she has a sweater called Afgani. And someone made a project page for one of the 2 dresses I just mentioned, but incorporated the steeked neckline of her sweater design, which I thought was really genius. And I like that element. So I might do that. So all that to say, it's a lot of math, science, and creativity going into this year's Rhinebeck wardrobe. So, that being said, I have spent way too much time on Ravelry. If I had spent all that time on knitting instead of Ravelry, I easily would be done with all of these whips. All that being said, I'm almost done with my Cozy Classic Raglan, and I am on a game of yarn chicken. Look at that. I do need to weigh this because I'm going to need to split it in 2 to bind off the sleeve holes. This is obviously going to be short sleeve, but I just bound off the waist last night, and it's just literally probably going to be like purl a row, knit a row, bind off for a little short sleeve situation. But I wanted to make a cozy tee. If you're not aware, there is a make-along to kick off spring. I'll insert the hashtag right here, but we are knitting or crocheting any tee or tank pattern. Basically, it just has to be like elbows and up. No long sleeve tee, no long sleeve sweaters. And so some days in Michigan, you want to wear a tee, but you still want it to be cozy. And that was my thinking with this Cozy Classic Raglan. So this yarn is, I've talked about this before. This is Earl Grey Fibers, Darjeeling sock yarn. And where's my bag? I'm holding it with my own hand-dyed Sari Silk Street, Sari Silk Base in the colorway Latte. And if you can hear my dog huffing and puffing, she has an injured leg and is in a lot of pain and is kind of huffing it out right beneath the camera. Poor baby. Anyway, so I'm holding the 2 together. I don't mind like cozy short sleeve top. I'd rather be hot than cold. And so I think it's formed a really cool fabric too. Yeah. So this will be done, I'm sure, tonight. I just need to get off Ravelry, have a little more knitting time than searching time. Anyway, what else am I knitting on? I think I mentioned last time that I'm doing the Wild Posy jumper by B Mandarines, which I recently also did. But this time I'm doing the Luna version. Yeah, which is the more textural, less lacy. And I'm doing this with some Lola Bean yarn held with this yarn that I've had in stash for ages. This is, wait a minute, oh, that doesn't go with that. Lana Grossa Chiara. Isn't that a gorgeous gold? So I'm holding a strand of sock yarn with a strand of mohair with a strand of that Lana Grossa, and this is the fabric it's creating. I just definitely think I have like a neutral color palette here with this top, and what I just showed you. It's, someone make me knit a different color, please. Anyway, that was moving fairly quickly once I got knitting on it, but I'll return to it probably tomorrow. So next episode I'll have some progress. And the last but not least at all thing that I want to talk about is, if you're familiar with Nancy of Getting Pearly With It, she is a pattern designer who designed the My Boy Lollipop top. That I knit this top probably, it was before the pandemic started. Oh, anyway, she is doing a make-along for it, and I thought it would be fun to get in on the action and knit another version, but a little bit different. My last one was super colorful and what I would say fun and casual. So I thought this time around I would do fancy. So I am holding, and let me just say, I am really trying to stash bust because if you're not aware, I have a new quarterly yarn club that just kicked off a few weeks ago. It's called Yarn Addicts Anonymous. And each quarter, starting this July, you get 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn. There's 2 options. One is a BFL and the other is like a yak merino blend. And these are going to be the best colorways I've ever done. The most exclusive stuff, limited edition. And because I'm going to want in on the action, I'm like, I've got to get rid of some of my stash. So that being said, I had some of this mohair, which is by Periwinkle Sheep Company. Some of this, which is Lana Grossa Brillino. Really cool sparkly thread. And then I paired both of those with my Hot Rod sock yarn, which is merino, nylon, and silver-based stellina. This is charcoal. And let me show you how my fabric is turning out. I haven't gotten very far, but look how cool that is. So this is gonna start flying. I'm about halfway through the increases, and like I said, now that I'm back from my trip and my Cozy Classic Raglan is about done, I'll be able to really start grooving. And both the 2 whips that I just showed you are short sleeve, so that saves a ton of time. So that's awesome. So I highly encourage you to cast on a tee or a tank so that you can get in on the tee off spring make along. There will be prizes. And again, this Yarn Addicts Anonymous yarn club that I just mentioned, it's all on my website, m1yarns.com. It's a quarterly box. It includes surprise goodies, pattern suggestions for socks, shawls, sweaters. The 3 skeins you get will be 3 different colors, but they will be cohesive. So if you wanted to use them in, say, like a striped shawl or a striped sweater or a fade or some sort of project, they would feel cohesive and as if you went to the yarn shop and the person at the shop helped you pick 3 skeins off the shelf that fit together and made sense and felt right. So head over to my website and check that out, because there's only, so if you sign up for the July box, there's only about 3 more weeks to sign up. I think it closes June 1st. You can sign up for a whole year and you'll get a discount. But if you sign up after the June 1st cutoff, then your boxes wouldn't start until October. So just FYI. Anyway, yes, let's brainstorm what we want to do for our Rhinebeck make-along. Comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you're going to Rhinebeck. Other than that, I'm just prepping for the Tip of the Mitt Fiber Festival, which is the first weekend in June. And there will be lots of kits, lots of new stuff in my booth and new colorways. So I'm really excited for that. I hope if you're in the area, you will come see me. Thanks for joining me today. All the show notes are below, including my website, my Patreon, and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.